Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm your host today. My name is Michael McKeever. Now, before we start the show, let's say hello to our esteemed panel of South Florida theater experts. First off, we have Mr. Bill Hirschman, an arts journalist and the founder of FloridaTheaterOnStage.com. Next to him is the remarkably talented Miss Karen Stevens, who is a Carbonell Award-winning actress and writer. And last but certainly not least, South Florida theater icon and the producer of Spotlight on the Arts, Miss Iris Acker. Now, it gives me great pleasure. You know what? Pleasure is not enough of a word. It gives me joy to welcome our very special guest today. Maria Rodaz, along with her husband John Rodaz, created a theater 27 years ago on Lincoln Road on Miami Beach. It's called Area Stage. In the past 27 years, the theater has continued to produce amazing work, both professional and for children in their Theater for Children Conservatory. And they just continue to grow and amaze all of us who really enjoy great theater. So it's with pleasure that I say welcome to the show tonight.
Michael. Thank you so much. It is a privilege to be here.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us, how did the move happen from Miami Beach to South Miami, where you are now?
Well, as you all know, Lincoln Road had a tremendous renaissance thanks to the artists that, chose the road to begin our enterprises. There were many artists, theater artists. The ballet theater company was there, the Miami City Ballet.
Of course.
And regretfully, after 10 years, we just could not compete with the high rents.
Yeah.
We started with very low rent. And as theater artists, we never had the foresight to buy the building where we were at. At the end of 10 years, we might have very well bought the building, but we were too busy doing theater. And it's, the reason why we began first working out of different spaces and eventually moved to the Riviera Theater, which is a historic theater on US 1 in 2008. And when we moved there, we went from a 60-some seat theater house to a 250-seat theater house. And we had to revamp our mission and our programming. And we have done so very successfully.
I was going to say, yes, your mission has changed. Has your mission really changed? I mean, except for doing stuff that you're doing now that you would have done perhaps at the Area Theater on Lincoln Road. I mean, I was going to say, what have you actually done that's different? You haven't. You've just expanded and enveloped and brought the children in.
It is true. It is true because we keep, our first mission was to always produce high quality theater, world class. And John and I as theater artists always propose ourselves, would this play survive in any other city in the country, including New York, London, Atlanta, Chicago. And we have that in mind with every project we begin with. Up to date, we've produced over 400 plays.
That's all.
And events, yes. It's quite a number. And with that in mind, with that mission in mind, so even our conservatory, the productions are nurtured in a way that is professional theater for young actors, not children's theater. And over again, when people come to see those productions for the first time, they always say, well, we thought we were going to come see, children's theater. And it's, I beg people not to be mistaken, because it is really exciting to see these kids performing on the stage. And the fact is that today on Broadway, for the past 15 years, there have been so many plays with children the same ages on Broadway. So it stands that these kids are very well professional actors.
When you first conceived and put the conservatory together, was it as a direct result of needing that extra income, or was it something that you had always planned on doing? Was it, I guess I'm asking, was it to justify filling those extra seats?
Michael, it's turned out to be that way. But John and I, regretfully, never have thought of how to make more money or how to, have extra income. it departed from a very selfish need, which was I didn't have any place where to put my own children. I shopped around, and with this, I'm not by any means saying that there are no wonderful programs in South Florida for theater for children, theater programs, but we were looking for that place to really give professional training to our own kids who were interested in doing theater. My daughter Rachel is right now an artist in New Orleans, and she's finishing her degree in theater. And my son Giancarlo, who we were just talking about, founded already his own theater company. So in view of this need in South Florida, in our community, somewhere that was close to us, we opened up the conservatory.
So when you advertise, do you market it as a children's theater? Because basically you still do mostly children's shows.
Yes and no. We have a season now of doing 3 professional shows or 4 professional shows a year.
Oh, you're going to do 4, okay.
We have been doing. The fact is that we are negotiating through our producing programming diversity, not only in genre, age, cultural diversity, but also in terms of inclusion, an inclusion project for people with developmental disabilities, emotional disabilities. So we do theater for all.
Great.
Therefore, our multiple programming really takes a space. We can not only do professional theater. I don't know if you're all aware that we do inclusion theater.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a tremendous program. It's now funded by the Senate, and it's really taken a lot of traction within that community, very special community.
Wow.
Yes.
Sounds like you're really covering all the bases, which is great because there are so many underserved pockets, in our community. What has that done to the demographics of your audience?
We have, it's funny because talking about the need for money, the median age for our demographics is 22 years old.
Wow. That's enough to make me fall over right there.
Yeah,
That's
right.
amazing.
Awesome.
Which brings me to our second mission, and that was to make to leave a legacy of new theater artists, and hence the conservatory, and also an extension of when we started the theater. Michael, you remember we gave you the first reading of first professional.
It is. It's with great pride that I say my very first play back in 1995 received its first public reading at the area stage on their stage on Lincoln Road, and I thought I had just I did. It was like winning the lottery because. It was a theater that I had gone to. I really respected. It was beautiful work, and so for the first time my words were actually spoken on a professional stage was at Area Stage, which was amazing. But there's been a number of South Florida theater artists who've gotten their start with you and John.
Absolutely. Oscar Isaac, Carlos Elizondo, Ricky Martinez, Paul Tay. I mean, there are so many important artists in this community that have, begun their professional careers at the Area Stage.
Yes. And
we continue to do so. So, coming full circle, and I forgot what we were talking about, but it's part of our mission, which is, the median age. So,
Yes.
leaving a legacy of new theater artists and also a legacy of new generations of theater goers.
Yes.
And the conservatory departed, not only to have an education for our kids, but proposing to ourselves, how can we impact our community and with a legacy of something we love so much, which is theater, live theater. My husband and I have completely dedicated our lives to that. And the conservatory came as an answer, and it has proven to be a very smart decision, which in addition has brought funds to our programming, which has allowed us to expand and have our very diverse program servicing those pockets of people that are often marginalized and able to participate in something that can really illuminate the human experience and reaching out to new theater goers. So we have been very
you told me from 11 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. I said to her, well, television, I'll tell you when the program is on. And she said, I never watch TV. I don't have any time. So it is a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour project, actually. Do
Yeah,
you sleep?
it is.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm just saying, is this what you want? Isn't there any way to expand and have more people working for you?
Well, we do have a significant staff now, and we have a lot of people working for me, but I still love getting in our lab, and making little hats or fixing the costumes or teaching the children. I wake up every day and I don't go to work, I go to play. And I feel so honored and privileged that the South Florida community has given me the space to do that, to really be successful at what we do. It is with great pride that we have been recognized by the Carbonells, but so many awards. By Ted Koppel, we have been the only theater company in that line. By Ted Koppel, when we developed an original script that was called Roman Coke, by Carmen Peláez.
I remember Roman Coke.
Yes, and it took us to national television. So we don't work. I mean, we don't work. We play. John and I go to the theater, and it's such a privilege,
It used to be a movie theater.
The Rivera Theater, yes.
How did you get it to begin with? It's a wonderful space.
It is. It was because the attorney for the previous owners knew Area Stage had gone to Area Stage on Lincoln Road. And we were going to rent it to conduct some auditions. And he said, oh my God, you have to get these people, because they were themselves managing the space and they were not too successful at it. So we started talks and we ended up going there. It was at the same time that we had been called by the Art Center to be a partner at the Art Center, but we eventually got our own theater, and it was a very good move. Having said that, it is really sad to announce that new owners are planning now to tear the whole building down, and we're going to be homeless again.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So our lease extends to October of 2018, and right now we're looking for a new space.
Let's tell everybody exactly where you are.
Absolutely.
You're a theater unto itself in South Miami.
Yes.
Exactly. How would you...
Well, we are across from UM.
U of S.
It's actually the seat of Coral Gables. We're part of the seat of Coral Gables. It's 1560 South Dixie Highway. At the Rivera Plaza used to be a very classic space where a lot of people. It was the first movie. It was only 2 movie theaters then: The Miracle and the Rivera.
But the entrance is in the back.
It is
so
in the back,
if you drive
yes.
looking for it, you may.
Yeah.
But there's a nice sign out front.
It
so,
is, yes. There's a marquee there.
Yes, that marquee
And
is-
for people wanting to know about the theater and the programming and the plays that you have coming up, what's the website?
It's areastagecompany.com.
So
There you go.
when you're talking about conservatory, I have a couple of friends who have been coming to your productions since day one.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, they would tell me that your conservatory productions were as good as virtually anything they had seen of those same productions. And, I sort of quietly went, yeah, it's children's theater. And they kept saying, no, you don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
What should audience members, come and expect as far as a level of quality? Do you want them to come and expect the same thing they would get at an adult professional theater?
Absolutely, it's the same thing.
Talk a little about what that
Well,
is.
the fact is that our program, the conservatory program, is training young actors to be professionals at any age.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, you have to surround the actor, no matter how old or how young, with the same production values. So it is a miracle that we have survived such an enterprise. But certainly it is because of our commitment that we are producing kids who have already been on Broadway or in national tours, or they're Netflix and Disney. Some of our actors, Oscar Isaac, for example, he's really made it big. But it is that commitment to the experience that we offer that has to be at the same level as any professional show. It sounds braggy to say, oh, everybody says that, it's the same as Broadway, but the truth is that we get so many amazing comments that people forget that they're watching children.
And
People
again,
forget.
you're not doing Alice or The Looking Glass or the Teddy Bear's Picnic. You did Les Miserables, is that
Yes.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the kind of show that you're doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, and I've spoken to people as well who say you have to see the work there. It is just amazing. And I'm saying their adult theater, and they said no, I'm talking about the kids theater as well. It's just really good.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the adult shows that
Absolutely.
you've done. As you did 20 years ago, you still do now. You find these remarkable plays that have just the right amount of edge to it. Yet you're not going to see an old worn down Neil Simon comedy. I mean, things like The Nether and what was the one that
Circle Mirror
Circle.
Transformation.
What do you look for when you and John are looking for new work or plays to produce? What do you look for?
Something that challenges us. Absolutely. Having said that, Michael, I know, and also, Neil Simon play, they could be also attractive to us.
There you go.
Yeah, we have never looked, at a piece and say, oh, this is, because we just love any kind of theater. Remember Kvetch?
Sure.
We found it very commercial for us, and yet it would have been a play that nobody would have picked up.
Yes. Kvetch was a play done back in the 90s.
Yes.
That was wonderful and wild with a wonderful cast that was led by Chaz Mena. And that was, it's funny too, because it was so outrageous, you would have thought that, it'd be a little, but it was enormously successful for you. I
Very
remember.
successful. We were, 8 months with it.
Wow.
Yes, from performances from Tuesday to Sunday. I mean, it was such a success. The same as Lisbon Traviata. Nobody would have touched that play in South Florida until we came and we began doing shows very diverse.
I don't know if I've got this memory right, but when I went to see it, I remember that you used to have a little sign that used to hang from the awning in front, and it said extended whatever weeks.
Yeah.
It was like 11 weeks it had extended. Could you imagine a show extending that long?
And it was right when Andrew happened, and we had to do shows Tuesday through Sunday. Yes. But our shows find their audience. It's something that we had at Airy Stage on Lincoln Road that we don't have right now, because evidently, due to the size of the theater, we do have to keep, things going. And with the conservatory, we cannot extend our shows. But, we find our audiences. We really do.
Now, did you and John start out as performers yourselves?
Yes, we both did. Yes, but I really like producing a lot more. I still find the time sometimes to, paint the sets or do, the crafty side of it, aside from producing also.
Do you ever miss being an actress?
I don't.
It's very hard work, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
I don't
is.
think our public realizes that it is very hard work.
But I think I also like to be the boss. Yeah, I like, have a little whip, and I like to just, tell everybody what to do. So I enjoy that part.
So over the years, how have you adapted to the changes that are taking place within the theater community, like the lack of funding and the theater etiquette and the advent of social media and all of that? How does your company adapt it to all of these changes that have taken place?
I think we have adapted. I don't know how. I guess by merit of our growth as both people, John and I, growing as individuals, doing this, and as an organization, by revamping our programming and finding new projects and finding our niche in this community. It's important that you bring up social media, because one of the things that I hate the most is people filming our things or interrupting or texting or phones ringing. But hey, you adapt, We are here to educate, and we educate not only the people who are on the stage, but also the audience members. We have actually asked people to leave the theater when they're talking on their phone.
I was sitting next to two very young ladies, and they were on their phones, texting or whatever while the show was on. And I actually physically touched the girl next to me.
How can
and just said, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
It was, I couldn't, they're teenagers. There were two
Yes,
teenagers.
yes.
Obviously, they'd been there before. And another thing too, they were sitting with their feet on the chair in front of them, actually resting on the chair. Etiquette, what happened to theater etiquette? You know, going to the theater was a special event. We used to love dressing for it. And the actors on stage appreciated how people dressed and how they acted coming to us. That was part of the applause, recognition.
Oh, absolutely. And I do miss that in our lives. Even the way we were just commenting, I was doing costumes this last Saturday. And even the way people used to dress for things, to go to the theater, it's just, you know, everything has changed. But I guess we adapt.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
that's what you said. Yes,
Yes.
you adopt.
Do you?
You have to.
Do you? You probably do. But can you talk about the challenges of trying to work with an audience that is not just different ages, but different ethnic backgrounds and different cultural backgrounds, and trying to bring those all together? Because there have been more than a few theaters in Miami-Dade that have struggled terribly to try to get lots of a very diverse audience in every sense of the word. How have you addressed that?
We have done very successfully because we have Project Eñe, for example. We're doing a play in Spanish and English from Jose Luis Acosta. He's a Spanish playwright, and we're doing the U.S. premiere. His play is also going to premiere simultaneously in London and in Madrid. So it's going to be in Spanish and English. Now, we don't address that as a goal. It's rather a consequence of what we try to do. And I do think that we are successful in having a universal appeal by merit of our choice of plays, our commitment to high quality, and keeping the integrity of the artistic values of any project we do. And I think that when you have a product that is very high quality, and I don't want to sound arrogant with that because we don't always succeed at that, but we aim for that. It has universal appeal. You know, a story by, you know, by a classic writer, you know, Alejandro Dumas remains attractive in any language because it's such a good story. And we try to honor that in the theater we do by choosing plays that really appeal to John and I, plays that we find that are very well written.
Well, I think it's important too that you choose the plays, no matter where they're from or who they're by, that appeal to you, as opposed to something that you think these are just going to sell tickets. I think that's because that way the final product has your passion and has your love in it.
Absolutely, and if you're not going to do something well, why do it?
Right.
I think, and I think that regarding funding, really, our funding comes from ticket sales. Surprisingly, $10 a ticket for students. I mean, it's surprising that we survive with that. But in addition to that, there is a lot of ways sometimes to try to achieve that. You know, people pump money at things, and to have something that is artistically successful doesn't necessarily have to equate to a high budget. And we do manage with, you know, smaller budgets and most bigger theaters our size. We still, you know, when I hear, and it's great that they have amazing money because someday I wish to have those budgets, but we don't. But we still do theater that's great. And that's because we're really committed to you know, be successful with what we have in our hands. And often, you know, a very good sauce only needs butter. You know what I'm saying? One, right? You know, yes?
Yes,
I mean, you
yes.
don't need to have a lot of money. And
Well,
so
I guess that's how you keep a theater company, you know, going for 27 years, having
Yeah.
that kind of ingenuity and having that kind of passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And putting it on the stage.
Yeah, and we, you know, when we do theater, we always, and I told you this in the green room, we challenge ourselves, how can we do this play better than the last one? And we sit down, you know, at the drawing table, and we think, okay, what can we do that is different than? Because, you know, again, we're doing plays, sometimes have been very successfully commercially elsewhere, but we don't want to copy. We
Right.
don't want to do what somebody else has done. You know, we want to do something very different. I, for example, always propose to myself to direct plays that I have never seen before. Yeah, I don't want to know anything about it.
Yes.
Regretfully, with YouTube, a lot of people now, see shows on YouTube and they try to emulate it.
And they
imitate it.
just take it right off and put it
Yes,
on
so
the stage.
I don't do that. Yes,
Good for you.
So you're a committee of two. You and your husband select the plays.
yes,
Board of directors?
yeah.
You are the board of directors? No, you
Oh,
don't.
no. We
I
have a
know
board
you
of
have a
directors. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said both are directors. No, yes, we do have a board of directors. They have absolutely no say artistically.
Now, Arthur Whitelaw was on the show, and he spoke, wonderfully of you. And he has a play that he was hoping would be done at your theater. Is that going to happen?
What play?
I don't know. You.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Arthur Whitelaw?
Yeah, we're writing a play together.
You're writing a play
Yes,
together.
yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay.
Letters from Camp. Yeah. We're in the process of writing that.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
And it's a very interesting project. We've been working on it for a couple of years now, and it's based on Theresienstadt.
On what? I'm sorry?
Theresienstadt is the show camp. It was a concentration camp in Czech Republic.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and near Prague, 45 minutes away from Prague, where they put all of the artists, who were prisoners, and then like other camps, they let them play, and so it was amazingly rich in culture.
Yes, oddly enough, we were there just a year ago.
Oh.
It was fascinating.
It's
It was
fascinating.
and the story is going to be a fascinating one,
Yeah.
and just one of the many amazing things that I am absolutely convinced are on the horizon for you and John and Area Stage. I don't think it matters where you end up. I know the work is going to be brilliant, as it always has been. On that note, I have to say we're out of time.
Oh.
It's been a pleasure, and it just kind of flew by, but I knew it would because I know you've got this great history and all that talent and passion, and thank you for sharing it with
Well,
us.
thank you so much for having me here. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you to our panel, and thank you so much for joining us. Come see us again next week. In the meantime, check out FloridaTheaterOnStage.com to find out everything that's going on in South Florida Theater. Until next time, I'm Michael McKeever. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.